My name is Izzy. I am Afro-European, British by nationality, living in Spain. And I guess today we're going to talk about the events that have occurred in the US recently. Even though it's recent, the recent events are what has triggered everything. We all know this goes way back. It's been going on constantly. But this last one, for some reason, has triggered something. It has affected so many people of all races, nationalities, etc. But my concern, my perspective is specifically how it's affected African people, African American people, specifically African people, Afro people all over the world, Black people all over the world, because it has had a trigger effect, a global effect. There's a universal trauma that it's produced, and it's gone deep. It's gone deep to everybody. I have 3 Black men as sons. One of them rang up the other day. He lives in England. He's studying at university in England. Absolutely devastated, in tears, almost saying practically that life wasn't worth living if things were like this, and why us, So I think that's the initial despair, anger, frustration, rage, everything all put together. But now I think we have to find a way to channel all of that. We have to also recognize and somehow connect with the anger and rage and absolute, how would you say, perplexity that many, many, many white people, especially in the US, have also felt about this. Because I think this is the issue about all of this right now. Something that's come out of this event has been the idea that silence, white silence, is complicity. And I think this is where we have to go. We have to go down this road. We have to bring this to the forefront, and we have to let all those white Americans, and by extension, white people globally across the planet, because this thing is not just happening in the US. The US is the most publicized, because it's the US. But for example, the same thing, even worse in some respects, is happening in Brazil. I was reading something, I was on a video about this. We've all been watching it and watching comments about it. And on one comment, I just saw somebody just write Brazil. And people were like, what do you mean? And he said, this happens in Brazil 2 or 3 times a week. The last case was last week. A young boy, 12 years old or something, shot in his home, 60 bullets fired into his home by the police. They said that burglars had entered the building. It was his own home, and killed him. This is happening 2 or 3 times a week in Brazil. And there was a few months ago, just before the election of their president, this Trump version Brazil, Bolsonaro, a Afro-Brazilian woman, activist, LGBTQT or whatever they are now, woman, active in supporting poorer communities, Afro-Brazilian communities. She was killed, assassinated. Not a word in the Western press, not a word about the LGBT community in the West, nothing, disappeared, and this is what we have to now, I think, draw up on. If you are outraged, if you are white and you are outraged by what you saw, which so many millions are, and let's not doubt that they are, then we need to go to the next step. We need to go to the next step of recognition, which is, A, this is happening. It's happening constantly. B, ask yourself the question, why is it happening? Okay? C, why have you never given it any focus before? Because it's happening. We've all seen the cases, week in, week out, Aubrey Ahmed, Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, all the way back to Rodney King and before, you know it's been going on. Sandra Bland, you just say their names. Say their names. You know, it's a long, endless list. And it keeps happening, and it keeps happening. And I tell you what, as a non-American, as somebody from the other side of the Atlantic, I tell you, America's reputation with this is shot. It's done. People here are absolutely perplexed how this could be. How could you have what is tantamount to a public lynching in broad daylight by the police, one more in a long endless line, and really nothing happened?